Welcome to this lesson. We're going to take a look at, does my website need an about page? This is something that I thought might be useful. It's just a very short lesson where I'm sort of sharing my perspective from my years of experience in web design and production. And I think it's probably something that, given the fact that some of you've recently watched one of my lessons, which is how to plan your website, you might be wondering about the about page, because I think in that example where I showed you how I planned my own website, we did have an about us page. I might not have gone into a lot of detail, and I've heard other opinions, conflicting opinions, where it's like, it's not really an important page, you don't really need it, don't waste your time with the about us page. So let's break it down and let's sort of explore it together, and then you can make your own decision as to whether you need an about us page or about me or about the company, whatever it might be. Let's just call it an about page. You can make that decision based on what we look at today as a few ideas to help you along the way. So here's sort of three kind of typical points that might be the case against having an about page, and we're going to take a look at them, and hopefully I'm going to break them down convincingly and get you to really wonder about the credibility of these points against. So number one, who would want to find out about me or us? So that's what maybe you are thinking. You're thinking that perhaps your customer, prospective visitors to your site are really there to sort of just ideally perhaps buy your product or sign up or consume your information. Actually spending the time to go to an about page, you might be thinking, who would want to spend some time doing that? Really, people are busy, they just want to get straight the information that they need. And that is true to an extent. But there is something that, for those of you who've seen some of my other lessons, you're probably aware of the term which is out there for online marketers: know, like, and trust. So this is the concept that if you want to sell successfully online or promote or build a following, whatever the case may be, if you can crack this, if you can get your audience to know you, to like you, and to trust you, you've got a really good chance of success, basically, because then really you just have to offer the right product at the right price at the right time. Combined with them knowing, liking you, and trusting you, you've got a really good chance of making the sale or signing them up or getting them to join your membership or whatever it is that you're interested in doing on a website. If you can achieve know, like, and trust, it puts you in a very, very strong position to take your customers to the next step. That's really why an About Us page or About Me page can be very, very strong, because it really zooms in on telling your audience, helping them get to know you, hopefully getting to like you, and also getting to trust you. You're opening yourself up on the About page, and you're sharing something of yourself or the ethos of your business or your organization, and you're really helping people just get to sort of get a sense of you without you really pushing or talking about product so much. So that's the time when you really just need to sort of show yourself for who you are, or your business for what it is and what it represents, without the sell. A lot of people will appreciate that. A lot of people want to know and like and trust before they do business online. It's quite natural. That's why this is such a crucial concept, which I talk about a lot in other lessons. So yes, people want to find out about the person or the ethos behind the business. If you can do a good job here of know, like, and trust, then you've got a really good chance of taking them on your journey to the next step. And so really what I'm saying is, this answers that problem and basically turns it on its head and says lots of people will want to know, like, and trust you before they do business with you. So I hope that covers that one. Now the next one is, wouldn't this be a rather boring page? People probably just imagine sometimes a page full of text describing your history or your CV. And of course, your background is important, but this page has the potential to be really quite interesting. The sorts of things that people put on an about page are often, for example, videos, They have imagery maybe as well of themselves, or whatever it might be, with a family the family sort of situation, or if you're not a family person, maybe an image sort of showing you doing what you like to do. Maybe it's related to the business, but it's clearly not necessarily promoting too hard the business at this point. You may also have such things as, you might have a mission statement where you sort of say what you're all about or what your business is all about. And you can have other content, whatever that may be, which is really just sort of helping to promote and present yourself and your personality. You may even have, if you do have a blog, you may have sort of links off to blog posts, like that, with a call to action to your blog post. Of course, the blog is another area that can really do a really good job of promoting and presenting yourself. It's sort of giving people an aspect of what you believe in and your sort of perspective and your take on things, which is really helpful. And in some ways, the About page is actually quite similar to the blog in that respect. But of course, the About Us page has the advantage of being laser focused on trying to achieve that job of presenting yourself to the world. Less about salesy, as I say, more about authenticity, the background, the sorts of things that people want to know about you before they decide whether they know, like, and trust you. So it's a chance to be very real, and just sort of let your sort of true self come through. So it doesn't have to be a boring page, and we'll have a very quick look at my own About page in a second, so you can have a look and see how I've basically tackled this page for myself.
So here we have my About Me page. As you can see, I've got a video at the top, which talks a little bit about my background, helps people get to know me. We've got my mission here, what my website's really all about, what I'm trying to achieve. Some notes about my character, my experience, the sort of the history and background that got me to where I'm now teaching. And obviously useful, quite handy for people to see and sort of understand the journey that you've been on. A little bit of feedback that I got over the years, and then ongoing links to find out more if people want to go a little bit deeper. So that's my About Me page, fairly simple and straightforward, but for me, I think that's really all I need to do for now and for the early release of the website. Let's just show you a couple of other examples as well. Marie Folio, who many of you may have heard of, she's an online marketer, as you can see, entrepreneur, writer, philanthropist, and unshakable optimist. So here she goes. Look, this is really taking things to a high level, so don't feel you need to try and reach for this level first of all, but this is someone who's on top of the game, likely got millions to invest in very smart and fancy web design. So we've got lovely graphics of cloud, sort of blending into a blue sky background, nice sort of, mimicking casual, normal handwriting. A nice statement, really just summing herself up, which is really quite good. So people can get a sense of her really, really quickly as soon as they hit the page. That's nice and smart. Not too much to look at, but everything that you would need to see to form a first impression. Then you can see here, this will help. That little arrow moves you down, and as soon as you do move down, interestingly, you've got a promotion running at the top. So she's certainly promoting on her About Us page, but she's very successful. A lot of people know her name, and if you feel like you can get away with it, why not? For me, I'm not necessarily at that point on my own website that I want to promote. I really just want people to sort of get to know me a little bit. But this is the main reason for this page as well. So she has some nice quotes, and she talks about her story and how she got into things. So that's quite good, just to sort of help the people sort of to empathize. So, and of course, it all boils back to know, like, and trust. Know, like, and trust. Um, Again, a bit more on her background. Nice imagery, nice sort of compelling storytelling copy. You really just sort of draw in the reader. Some sort of social proof there with, of course, her pictured with some famous people, famous shows, adding a lot of credibility as well as, after they've sort of learnt a bit of story about her, the audience can now see that she's very credible. And then this, here we go, which brings me to you. So now she's sort of connected, hopefully, with her audience. She's now looking to come back to the reader and connect with them here in terms of their pain points. Really nicely done. And here she's going on into that and really sort of taking them on a journey into what she can offer. And a nice little animated signature at the bottom. And it goes on. Uh, oh, this is okay. So this is actually giving the user more places to go, so they're not leaving them stranded at the bottom. There's some nice links here where you can go and find out more about her and explore things, and go to the TV channel that she's got and watch her videos, with some call to actions at the bottom as well. So this is quite clever, not really helping or allowing the user to easily go off to another website, really trying to keep them engaged now that they've got to know her, onto the next step, which I think is really nice and a really well done page. And this is perhaps one to aspire to and not to try and achieve straight away. By all means, if you have the skills or the budget to bring in and put together all this creative, great, but I would imagine a lot of people wouldn't necessarily get to this level for quite a while. But nonetheless, helpful to see how some people have done this well. And then we have an example for a company, because you might not be thinking about a website just for yourself, your own sort of personal brand. It could be an organization or a small business you set up, or even could be a large business. Basically, this is Dennys about page, where you can find out all about them. A nice statement at the top, summing things up, and then a nice sort of statement talking about the last 65 years credibility. So very, very good use of copy. I would say those who've looked at my and studied other lessons that I've got on web design, we might not be overly keen on this white text on this very light skin colored background, because it's very hard to read. So, you know, even someone like Dennis, who've clearly got a lot of investment, can get some of the simple things a little bit wrong. But I'm not really trying to bring this down. I'm just really saying this is a great example, because look, you've got some summary points of things to consider about them, and some nice imagery and some copy there. And now we get into their history, a bit like how I've done on my about page, but clearly they've got a lot more time and effort and energy and resources to throw at it. So you can see that they got a lot about their history. Now, I had to guess there that these little rounded rectangles that I'm clicking on move me forward. So I'd say there's a slight risk here from a usability perspective, that not all users would gather that this is how you navigate this particular sort of uh, company history. So again, I'm picking little holes in this because I'm spotting them as I'm sharing them this with you. But you see, you can have this wonderful story with awesome pictures, great copy. But if users haven't got the time to figure out how it works, they may just skip through this. And I would imagine that a lot of people don't get to see a lot of this, because there's no other way that I can. Oh, I can drag it. Okay, fine. But there's nothing on the screen that tells me I can drag it. I didn't actually think the drag would work, because there's no sort of tempting icons to sort of pull me in. Of course, it says scroll here, but that's that's not necessarily going to always catch the eye. So I'm nitpicking a little bit here, but I'm trying to show you that from the design side and also my background in user experience, there's some usability challenges here that this could probably benefit from considering. Anyway, let's move forward and just finish off this page. So here we go, career spotlight. So of course this is pitching it at people who may also want to have a career here and view different careers. So that's a nice way to lead into careers and working for Dennys. The leadership team. Of course, you can go forward and see a bit more information about the different people. So it's really opening up the leadership team, so you can really get a sense of these people, who they are. They're not sort of, overly corporate people that you can't touch on. I imagine. Okay, that one's not clickable. Some of them are, some of them aren't. Fine. So again, a bit of inconsistency there. And this text here, as we looked at on another lesson, not necessarily the easiest to read when you just drop in a whopping great chunk of text. So again, I'm going to be picking holes in here because I think it's useful for you to be aware of some of the issues that we find them. And there's, as I say, inconsistency. Some of them have got info, others don't. So maybe some improvements there, but nonetheless, a nice effort to sort of present and expose the detail behind the company, social responsibility, learn more, diversity, all the sort of buzz terms that a lot of corporates are looking to make sure that they present, franchising and investors, etc., etc. So I think it's quite a nice job, albeit some sort of UX or design aspects that we could improve. But I think it's a pretty good effort and a good example of how to open up your organization to get a sense. I think, maybe a video could be always handy in these pages for those that want video, but I think it's really important not to be overly dependent on the video as well. Just an idea and a thought for you, given the fact that it's very easy to create a video of yourself these days and include that on a web page. It's definitely worth thinking about doing. It does help people to really hear your tone of voice, get a sense of your credibility and your confidence. So if you're the sort of person who comes on appears quite well on camera, then I think it's well worth thinking about doing. Not that I'm saying that this video is perfect. Certainly, that was an early shot video, and as I say, it's there. It's on the page. It's present. It does give people a sense of me, but I'm very much got on my to-do list to shoot this one again and improve it. Anyway, that's a quick look at some good examples of about me or about us pages. And so now we hop back to point 3.
There are so many more important pages that I need to focus on. That might be one of the things running through your mind. You feel that you need to build certain pages, you've got to provide content with certain pages, and you'd much rather leave About Us off the list because you've got too many other things to cater for at the moment. And in a way, that could be true because, the whole point of getting things out there and launched is you don't have to obsess about getting things perfect up front. You put the basics out there, the important stuff out there first, and then the rest of the website or the product, whatever you're creating, can follow. That's obviously a healthy, manageable way to produce things, and you might decide on that basis that the About Us comes as phase 2 or phase 3. But before you make that decision, let's just take a look at some of the other pages that you might prefer to create first. You might say that you want to have your home page first of all, and that's a crucial page, and you'd obviously be right there. No one's going to probably disagree with that. But what other, you might say, well, I want to have my product pages. Let's say that's product 1, product 2. I don't know if this is the way you might, and you might not even have products, but really what I'm driving at here is products, homepage. You could argue very important. Some people might say more important than About Us. Then you've got, you might want your blog. We've already sort of touched on that it's another good way to give people extra information, attract search engine traffic to your website, and just give people a sense about you. And you might argue that's more important. Then, of course, there's a Contact Me page. You might say that's more important than the About Us page. So a few pages that you might say, well, I'm going to launch with that, and then I'll get back to the next level of pages. That's absolutely fine. But what I would say, though, is when you think about the About page, it's, it's not more important than the home page. I think, again, not many people would disagree with that. But in terms of, your product pages, your blog and your contact, it may be that the About page could actually be a place that on the whole, some customers like to go through before they make a decision about buying your product. As I say, it complements the blog, but it actually is more targeted and later focused on presenting you or your business or your team. So in some ways, you could argue it does a better job than the blog. And then the Contact Me page, once again, of course, you need to be contactable. There's no doubt about that. But at the same time, it could be that the About Us page means that people can find a quick way to sort of read up on you first before they decide whether or not to contact you. So actually, you may find that the About Us page or About Me page, in some ways, is as important as this one and this one. Maybe this one, although it unlikely, but perhaps it's in the same league or perhaps just below your product pages. And of course, the homepage likely is, as we say, probably more important. So don't rule out the About page. Don't necessarily leave it too late and think that it's really just an also-ran kind of a page or a non-essential one. Arguably, maybe not essential, but some may say essential if it's driving traffic into, as I say, this page. Some user journeys may well be coming from wherever they've found your website, whether it's an advert, whether it's on a search engine, or a link from other websites or a blog coming into the homepage, getting a sense of you, maybe having a look at your product first, liking it, and thinking, before I commit, I wouldn't mind finding out about this person. Can I know, like, and importantly, trust? Because your About Us page will help accelerate that trust level if it's put together in the right way, combined with things such as a blog. It's a very, very powerful means of fast tracking these points. Not necessarily that it can do it all on its own, and sometimes people do need a little bit of time to get to know you. It might not be that they buy on first visit. It all depends on the product you're selling, of course, and the price point. But nonetheless, I think on the whole, it's fair to say that this page, the About page, really can make a big difference. And I really would recommend that you think seriously about getting it included, even in a very simple skeleton format, with perhaps a video, just a bit of text and a couple of images. Whatever you think would present you well. Have a look at what your competition are doing. Have a look at the big sort of online marketers in terms of their websites and their About pages. You'll soon get a sense of what they're up to and the sort of things they try and present and the message they try and give across, the kind of media and mechanisms they use to open themselves up, to make themselves much more approachable. Of course, what they're trying to do there is deal with the fact that an online meeting, so to speak, via a website, it's not nearly as easy to gauge that person as to whether they're trustworthy, whether you know, like, and trust them. And so again, this page, if put together well, is your, in a sense, a secret weapon to let your audience get to know you quicker and form that sort of virtual relationship, albeit one way at first, in a much more quicker and effective manner. So really urge you to think carefully about that and see if you can get the About Us page included in some format early on in your website endeavours.